3 years ago, I contracted bacterial meningitis while residing in South Florida. There wasn't any reported outbreak at the time, making it unclear how I caught it or from whom. The symptoms were severe, including painful headaches, confusion, sleepiness, nausea, and loss of appetite. However, it was the onset of hallucinations that signaled the gravity of my condition. While alone at home, I heard a child's voice calling "Mom" from downstairs, a perplexing occurrence since my husband and I don't have any children. Disturbed, I called out my husband's name, but of course, he wasn't there. Later, I heard another voice saying, "Hello," adding to my growing sense of unease. Frightened, I called my husband, who immediately left work to take me to the hospital. While changing into fresh clothes, I experienced another hallucination, hearing a voice outside the bathroom. The ordeal led to a sense of impending madness. Upon reaching the hospital, I was diagnosed with bacterial meningitis, a serious condition that, if untreated, could have severe consequences, possibly even fatal. The doctor mentioned that hallucinations were uncommon but not unheard of in such cases. Swift administration of antibiotics was crucial, and I was fortunate to have sought medical help promptly. Following my admission, my husband stayed with me for a few hours before leaving for work. As I drifted off to sleep, I had a vivid dream involving my toxic ex-husband, who spoke malevolently about my current husband. Upon waking, I noticed a chair in front of my hospital bed, eerily reminiscent of the dream. The next morning, the nurse informed me that my cousin David had visited me. Bewildered, I explained that I had no cousins in the state. Concerned, the nurse consulted a doctor, who attributed the vivid experience to antibiotic-induced delirium. Upon sharing this with my husband, he returned to the hospital that night. However, when I texted my ex-husband David, questioning his unexpected visit, he downplayed the situation, claiming to have been there out of concern. I threatened police involvement, prompting him to withdraw. Leaving the hospital the following week, I was left with lingering uncertainty about the reality of the threats I thought I heard. The combination of antibiotics, pre-existing auditory hallucinations, and the stressful situation made it challenging to discern fact from fiction. I've had a diverse nursing career, working in various hospitals and facilities. Before my current position, I spent time at a geriatric hospital just 30 minutes from my home. Although I was accustomed to working with older patients, an unsettling experience during one of my shifts left a lasting impact. This particular night, which happened to be my second to last shift at the hospital, I was assigned to the Alzheimer's ward during the graveyard shift. Running on minimal sleep, the night began uneventfully. The patients in the ward, particularly Lena, were fond of my presence, appreciating the connection to the present that I provided. Lena, however, was more restless than the others, constantly sharing her experiences of hearing voices and seeing a man dressed in black in the corner of her room. As the night progressed, her fear escalated, and she frequently called me into her room for reassurance. Despite my attempts to calm her, the unsettling nature of her claims began to affect me. During a quiet moment in the linen room, I heard inexplicable noises and felt a hand on my shoulder. Startled, I screamed, but there was no one in the room. Confused and shaken, I resumed my duties, only to encounter a man dressed in black smiling outside the glass door moments later. My screams alerted the entire ward, but when my fellow nurse arrived, there was no trace of the mysterious figure. Lena, now awake, spoke of the voices and, unbeknownst to her, my screams. When questioned about the man in black, she confirmed the details, sending shivers down my spine. I was moved to a different ward that night, and my subsequent shift was cut short as the experience had left me deeply disturbed. Despite seeking reassurance from my colleagues, there was no evidence of anyone matching the description in the ward. I contacted the head nurse the following day, expressing my trauma and deciding to make my upcoming shift my last. This inexplicable and supernatural encounter, coupled with the effects of sleep deprivation, left me grappling with an experience beyond rational explanation. I once connected with a girl named Francesca on Tinder, and despite the unconventional nature of our meeting, we've remained friends. Francesca, with her vibrant personality, red highlights, and a sleeve of tattoos, suggested an adventurous first encounter, a visit to an abandoned hospital on the outskirts of town. Driving together, we used the 20-minute journey to acquaint ourselves. Upon reaching the hospital, Francesca directed me to park on a discreet dead-end street hidden by tall bushes, a brief walk from the entrance. Venturing inside through a broken window to the basement, the eerie ambiance didn't deter our exploration. Navigating through the darkened corridors, Francesca's loud voice made me uneasy, fearing detection. A mysterious sound down the corridor heightened our anxiety, prompting us to turn off our flashlights. A sudden bang, closer this time, sent us scrambling back to the stairway, where we ran up to higher levels. Francesca assured me that police rarely patrolled the area, suggesting it might be other explorers. Strangely, we heard sounds from the stairwell we had just vacated, indicating someone was following. We hastily maneuvered through the labyrinthine structure, my anxiety escalating. Reaching a rooftop, our brief respite was disrupted by an ominous feeling of being pursued. Despite Francesca's familiarity with the location, tension lingered. A sound from below prompted us to shine our flashlights, revealing a man in his 40s, clad in black, beckoning us to come down. Uncertain of his intentions, we cautiously retreated, walking along precarious wooden planks. The man's insistence and creepy demeanor intensified our fear. As we reached safety, he hurriedly exited the room below, heightening our sense of danger. Descending the opposite side stairwell, we heard the man's footsteps following. Running for our lives, we barely evaded him, making it back to the first floor. Escaping through the basement window, the harrowing climb became a haunting experience. Reaching my car, we breathed sighs of relief, locking the doors. The ordeal created an instant bond, and after a Wendy's stop to collect our thoughts, I dropped Francesca off. Though our romantic involvement was brief, our friendship endured, with neither of us daring to return to that hospital again.